stand, please. Well, I have invocation given by Reverend Tim Polly. He is the minister at the Drivers Christian Church and also the Grand County Sheriff's chaplain. So if everyone can bow their head.
Praying first then? Okay.
Yes.
Let's pray. Heavenly Father, we bow our heads before you tonight. We thank you for getting us here safely tonight. Lord, we ask that you be with the fiscal court as they make decisions for the citizens of Grant County. Lord, we ask that you continue to bless us with everything that you do. And Lord, let us just make great decisions and have great discussions and do everything in your name. In the name of our Lord and Savior, Jesus Christ. Amen.
Amen.
Pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
If I could ask the clerk to call roll.
Roger Humphrey.
Present.
John Coburn.
Present.
John Goodhart.
Present.
First on the agenda, we have approval of the minutes. Presented a motion to approve the minutes dated January 22nd, 2019.
Having reviewed the minutes for January 22nd, 2019, I'll make a motion to approve those minutes as written.
I second.
I have a second. All in favor by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Next, we have fiscal matters for present review for motion to approve claims drawn on the general fund, road fund, jail fund dated February 5th, along with transfers as presented. On that transfer sheet, as we spoke last meeting, the pressure washer, and I think Pat had sent an email out to you all on it. So now that's reflected on the claim paid through the card.
Yes. Yep. Thank you. Having reviewed claims of the general fund, road fund, and jail fund, and the transfers, and seeing nothing unusual or out of the ordinary, I make a motion to approve them as presented. I will second.
I have a second. All in favor by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Number 2 on the fiscal matters is present review Grant County Treasurer's cash position report for January 2019. No action required. Is there any discussion? If no discussion, we'll move on. Next, I want to present, we have a guest in the audience, and I appreciate them coming down tonight, especially since UK's playing tonight and they missed the game. Our guests are Greg Thomas with the Department of Transportation, and also with Ms. Bob Yeager from District 6, and they have some other guests with them. If they'd like to come forward, you can come over to the podium here.
Hello, and thank you for the opportunity to come and be with you and speak to you this evening. My name is Greg Thomas. I'm with the Transportation Department in Frankfort, and I just wanted to give you kind of a high level. Bob Yeager is here with me. He's
Greg, excuse me, let me turn it on.
okay. Let me turn it around a little bit. It's
I
better.
don't think it's turned on.
Okay.
That, and I was thinking you were tall, so they're not as sensitive as this one, I
did.
can tell you that.
I did this one time, and the microphone came on midway, and I said, I don't know if you heard it, but it was great.
Yeah,
anyway, I appreciate the opportunity to be with you. Bob is here. I'd like to make just a few high-level comments and turn it over to him, but we have Jill Horn. Jill is with our rural secretary. She's a field rep. And Nancy Wood, who's with our communications department. So, from a high level at the cabinet, we're focused on the governor's direction, and that is jobs, jobs, jobs. And so we're in the transportation department supporting those jobs. In my opinion, that's the way out of our financial struggles, at least at the state level, and we need to keep up that performance, certainly. So along those lines, we're in the middle of our second, we call it SHIFT, but it's our prioritization program. It's taking our projects that everyone wants to be included in the road plan and prioritizing, scoring those, and getting local input. Real proud of that process. We've gone from a 200% over-programmed road plan, which basically, regardless of whether you got your project in the road plan or not, it didn't mean it really got built. So from there, we went down to 8%, so it's much more reliable. And fortunately, the legislature has agreed with us on that, and so they're supportive as well. And along those lines, Governor is focused on infrastructure and on assets and repairing our roads and bridges. Hopefully you've heard of the Bridging Kentucky program.
We have 5.
You have 5? Okay. Okay, good. Bob said 3, but we'll take 5.
Well, 3 funded tentatively. But Bob's gonna get them.
Yes.
That's
Five's good.
Catholic.
5's good. Okay. Okay. So, and then of course our pavement backlog, we're advancing quite rapidly. The General Assembly agreed with us on the priorities. Of course, it's their plan that comes back. But this last road plan, we went from about 1/3 of dedicated funding to 1/2 in terms of our assets. So Governor's focused on repairing our roads and bridges. And then we have what we're doing here tonight, which is we realized early on that we don't just care about the 27,000 miles of state highway that the Transportation Cabinet watches over. There's 80,000 miles, and so that belongs to the counties and the munis. And so we felt like it was just good practice to get out and talk to local folks and understand their priorities, their needs. We're basically here to listen, and identify projects that either contribute to direct job growth, retain jobs here in the county, or if you just have critical needs, getting people to and from. I mean, after all, jobs need transportation to connect people to jobs. So that's what we're all about here tonight, so that's what we're doing. Hopefully, we're making as many fiscal court meetings as we can to reach out and to say, hey, what are your priorities? What are your needs? Local folks know best. I know that. The governor knows that. And so that's what we're all about tonight. So if it's okay, Judge, I'll turn it over to Bob just to go over kind of some things happening in Grant County. Thank you.
What an exciting time to be in Grant County. Two of the things that the governor's initiative did was, one, we were looking at rehabilitating or taking care of what we have. Bridging Kentucky, as the Secretary has mentioned, is one of those programs, and it's fantastic. We have 3 of those projects in the letting, in just a couple of months. We also have the ones that are outside of Bridging Kentucky, the railroad bridges that I'm sure a lot of people are interested in as well. So those are also in the plan to get something done yet this year. So we have those. But in addition to that, we say if money's a little tight, we have to maintain what we have. And one of the biggest infrastructures that we have in Grant County is the interstate, and it's all about to be rehabbed this year. Now, that's the good news from transportation, the bad news from the driver. But we've been through this before. But if you've been out there and you've seen the potholes, we let the contract early last year on the south side to try to get some of those potholes done before the winter came in, because we knew that was going to be detrimental. And the harsh winter now has caused even some of the northbound. We've got some early money to put into the program for the one we're going to let soon, I think maybe this month, to start on fixing those holes before we get to doing the major repairs on that. So at some point over the next year, it may go into a little bit of the next year, but we hope to have most of the interstate to be rehabilitated by early next year, early spring by next year. It's assuming weather, what we can tolerate. Of course, our biggest obstacle is keeping it under traffic. We're not going to shut them down and try to move them on 25 and stuff, so we'll do that as well. I think the other project that people are interested in is obviously the Arc. It was a long time coming, but if you've been out there, there's some really neat things going on out there. You know, we've cut down those hillsides and that sort of daylights that place so you can really see what's going on there. There'll be a little disruption. We're working with the Arc to make sure we don't shut them down when we finish up putting in extra lanes and stuff, but we're really doing a great job there as well. We'll be coming, I think we're coming to the next meeting for the rural secondary program, so hopefully you're looking at that. And as the secretary mentioned, again, there is some funds there. We share funds. You get dedicated funds from the road funds specifically for the county and specifically for our rural roads, and we'll work together to see what we best utilize that. And as he mentioned, the common theme with me, I'm transportation. I was born, you know, I wasn't born in a car, but I should have been, you know, because transportation has been my entire life. And I think it's important that we do things. And I think everybody wants to be Grand County. You look at Pendleton, you look at Owen, they want to be at the interstate. They want to be the backbone of my district. And that's, you know, you don't get anywhere. You don't get to Lexington, you don't get anywhere without going to Grand County. So hopefully that's a big boom for the businesses around here. It's also a great place if you're not interested in working, you know, right close to your house. You can get around on the interstate and go to places that are building. So not only are we building roads to get people to come here to work and live, but they can live here and still work somewhere else. So it's a great feeling to be able to do those kinds of things. As the secretary mentioned, we are prioritizing how we're spending the money. I think that's a good thing for all of us. I think it shows what kind of needs we have, and I think it's important that we realize that we're going to utilize every single dollar to the maximum as best as we can for all the citizens of Kentucky. And we're certainly getting our fair share, I think, in these counties, especially the ones with the interstate, because that outfalls from those major rehabilitations. So if you'll be patient with us this summer, I think you'll see a great advantage into the interstates. We should have probably by later than midsummer the work done to the Art Park. I think that's going to be good. We've let the railroads out there working on that. One of those bridges is closed. They tell me that if the weather calls up, they can have that ready to go. It's only going to be 3 tons, but that's going to get most of the people back and forth. On South Banks and on the south end, we're letting that project as soon as I think it might be, it's either this month or next.
Yeah, I know you, I think,
March,
yeah.
okay, so that's next month. And then, you know, what did I do? I'm going one of 11 here. And so we do that, and I appreciate you all being up on things. If there's any time that you have questions about that, you want to know where we stand on things, you want to sit down and chat, especially after we have our meeting next 2 weeks about the rural secondary programs, we'll be glad to do that. And I know Ray Tomlin, who's our commissioner of rural roads, would be more than glad to sit down with you, Chuck, and talk to you about how all those things work, as will I. And I think he's planning on coming up to our office and having the new judges and stuff, and so we can discuss those things. We have all year to work through a lot of these issues, and you know we do this every year, so it's not like it's a one and done kind of thing. So I don't know if you've got any questions about transportation in general, transportation in particular. I didn't bring a lot of people with me. Jerry Keith, you all may probably know. Jerry's our section supervisor here and does a really good job.
And Jerry's good to work with.
So he's very knowledgeable, and anytime you got a local question, I'm sure he can answer that as well. He's got a good staff, and you know we do that well. Keith Shields is our road foreman here, and Keith, I found him to be very receptive as well. So call Jerry, call me, call Keith, anybody, and I think you'll get good reception. So
Yeah, they're a great group to work with. And just so you all know, we met with Bob Yeager and his staff in District 6. Me and Sean about 2 weeks ago went over the new bridge plans, road plans. So there's a lot going to be happening.
I remain complimentary, Bob, to you and your staff anytime that I've emailed, and I genuinely appreciate the due diligence and the immediate efforts to help us working with the railroad here recently to get them to have a contractor come out and to work on South Delaney. Frankly, if it wasn't through that type of communications, I don't know that project would be close to completion. And so thank you for the open communication, because you folks do respond to emails, so thank you for that.
thank you.
I'm a little biased, but I think we have great people.
Yeah.
Yes.
And this
Yeah,
district's no exception.
And with, like Judge Dills just said, just with Jerry, up at the state barn as well, just because it takes a village to help know where things need to be maintained. And, I hope that, with the new judge executive, that we could further have open communication so that we can let the citizens know that there actually are plans, because, the governor has been moving and shaking with taking infrastructure seriously.
Yes.
And I think we will start to see that come to light here in this county.
Thank you. Okay.
Well, thank you all for coming out
Thank
tonight.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
Thank you.
See you in 2 weeks.
Okay, thank you. Okay, moving down, we have a resolution number 2019-03. If I could have the clerk read it.
This is a resolution of the Grant County Fiscal Court, resolution number 2019-03. A resolution relating to the Grant County Fiscal Court approving the selection of Geostabilization International LLC to perform soil nail wall repairs to various roads. And those roads are Arnold's Creek Road, Blanchard Road, Delaney Road, and Sippel Road in Grant County at the total cost of $871,699.65 through the Commonwealth of Kentucky Master Agreement.
And I think most of you know, this was a discussion, we opened bids last meeting on this. There was a resolution they were requesting that we go ahead and do to submit this in for GSI to do the work. So if I could have a motion.
I make a motion to approve the resolution on stabilizations per the bids last week to Arnold's Creek, Blanchard Ridge, Delaney, and Sippel Road as presented.
I will second.
I have a second. All in favor by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Yeah, the money is pretty well, most of it's going to be returned back through the FEMA, so grants, so the county's not out that large sum.
And Chuck, for the residents, as it pertains to where the railroad bridges are closed, GSI, they have some other projects in the queue, but they've indicated they will start just as soon as possible, which means from their timeline, should be definitely before the end of February, if not sooner, based off of the projects they already have in the queue and based off of our weather.
And I spoke to Steve Tatum today and also Les Whalen. They're shooting to hopefully get started next week. The weather held them up. They've been started this week. But as soon as...
It's so wet.
Yeah.
It's gonna be a toss-up even.
But
for
they're ready to
them.
go.
Yeah.
According to everything that we've been told, as soon as the weather clears up just enough so they get to work.
And with the caveat that they've committed that they will keep one lane open for pass-through traffic as well.
Yeah, and I think there was maybe a short delay of 10 minutes. Is that right, Steve?
That's the most.
Yeah, I mean, obviously it's a narrow road. Their equipment ought to work, but they're able to move it to let people through. So if people could, that's leaving, try to schedule their times where they're not going out as much that day. Okay,
Judge, just one thing, I don't know, on the stabilization, it reminds me of Jameson Road. Have we heard anything lately on?
yes.
Okay,
I told Mr. and Ms. Davidson, they were here before the meeting.
okay.
The earliest they can start is like the end of this month, but he's gonna call me every 2 weeks to give me an update on when they can start. The weather's past couple of weeks has been bad, and we all know, and that puts him that much more behind on the project that he's on now.
Thanks.
You're welcome.
Yeah, yes, we did. I think they you say all. Just do it
Okay.
again. We need to vote on the resolution, we think.
Resolution.
Wait, did we take the roll
You know
call?
what?
She did the
I had a
first
motion
reading and I did a
A
second, but we didn't do the roll
All in
call.
favor?
We're just so anxious to communicate. Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Okay, moving down to ordinance. We're going to present the first reading. If I can have the clerk read the ordinance.
Yes, this is an ordinance relating to the amendment of ordinance number 0594-129. And what this is an amendment of the ordinance regarding members that shall be appointed to the Grant County Solid Waste Management Board by the judge executive and confirmed by the fiscal court. And it also directs and explains in there that those are for staggered terms, which is what we worked on. And so basically what this is, it is regarding the way that members are appointed to the solid waste board.
And just so you know, this is the ordinance that during the month of December, some issues were wanting to be explained. Stephen Bates has looked over the ordinance. He's revised the ordinance. We had some terms that had expired, some of them that they weren't able to run. Another term, could be appointed another term because of term limits. That's been corrected in the ordinance. And then over the last few weeks, we've been working on committees and boards, trying to get everything that's mirrored with ordinances and statutes. So that all is corrected, and that's what's being presented before you tonight. So if I could have a motion to approve the first reading of this ordinance.
I'll make a motion. We approve the first reading ordinance number 01-2019-0223.
And if you would mind, Roger, along with the notice to run in the local paper.
Along with the notice to run in the local paper, and having the second reading be held on March 5th, 2019.
Thank you, actually, I need it.
I will second.
I have a second. Any other discussion? If not, all in favor by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Okay, moving down, and this is going to be fairly lengthy because we've been working on these boards, correcting things, getting the appointments all lined out. Most of these are reappointments. If I could have the first appointment read.
I, Chuck Hills, Grant County Judge Executive, do hereby appoint Jennifer Thurman Humphrey to serve as a member on the Northern Kentucky District Board of Health. Said term is retroactive to January 1st, 2019, and will expire on December 31st, 2022.
I need a motion for that appointment.
I make a motion to appoint Jennifer Humphrey to serve as a member of the Northern Kentucky District Board of Health, said term to be retroactivated to January 1st of 2019 and to expire December 31st, 2022.
I second.
I have a second. All in favor by saying aye.
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 I abstain.
Okay. Motion carries.
It's ready for the next.
Yes.
You get Jennifer's sign for me.
Okay, if it's all right, then item or appointment 2, 3, and 4 are two reappointments of Glenn Caldwell and Ann Green to the Ethics Board. And the third one is going to be a new appointment, which is Jim Thorne, appointed to the Ethics Board. If I can have you read the appointments.
I, Chuck Hills, Grant County Judge Executive, do hereby reappoint Glenn Caldwell to serve as a member of the Ethics Commission of Grant County, Kentucky, effective February 6, 2019, and to expire on December 31st, 2020. I, Chuck Hills, Grant County Judge Executive, do hereby reappoint Ann Green to serve as a member of the Ethics Commission of Grant County, Kentucky, effective February 6, 2019, and to expire on December 31st, 2021. I, Chuck Hills, Grant County Judge Executive, do hereby appoint J. Ray Thorne to serve as a member of the Ethics Commission of Grant County, Kentucky, effective February 6, 2019, and to expire on December 31st, 2022.
Before I have a motion, these were also ones that need to be staggered according to administrative code. So I now have them all three staggered. So if I can have a motion to vote on all three together, unless you all rather do them individually.
I can read out the motion together. Make a motion to reappoint Lynn Codwell to serve as a member of the Ethics Commission effective February 6, 2019, to expire December 31st, 2020. In addition to that, a motion for reappointment for Ann Green to same said board effective February 6, 2019, to expire December 31st, 2021. And in addition to that, the appointment of Mr. Jim Thorne to serve as a member of the said board effective February 6, 2019, and to expire December 31st of 2022.
I second.
I have a second. All in favor by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries.
Hold on a second.
Yes. We're down to number 5. There's 3 reappointments, 1 new appointment. These were the ones that were continued out in December for 3 months, the 109 board. One of these were also corrected on a staggering term. According to the ordinance that the county has, there's 2 that hold 1-year terms, 2 that hold 2-year terms, 2 holds 3-year terms, 1 holds a 4-year term. So we now have them all staggered correctly. So if I can, on the first one is to appoint, a motion to appoint Karen Atha to serve as a member of the Grant County Solid Waste 109 Board, effective January 5th, 2019, and expires on December 31st, 2020. And then we have the 3 that are the ones that are reappointment, if you could read those.
Okay. I, Chuck Dills, Grant County Judge Executive, do hereby reappoint Dr. Amy Rowe to serve as a member of the Grant County Solid Waste Management 109 Board. Said term to begin on February 5th, 2019, and to expire on December 31st, 2022. I, Chuck Dills, Grant County Judge Executive, do hereby reappoint Dr. Fred Scheffler to serve as a member of the Grant County Solid Waste Management 109 Board. Said term to begin on February 5th, 2019, and to expire on December 31st, 2022. I, Chuck Dills, Grant County Judge Executive, do hereby reappoint Kim Martin to serve as a member of the Grant County Solid Waste Management 109 Board. Said term to begin on February 5th, 2019, and to expire on December 31st, 2021.
If I can have a motion on the 3 reappointments and 1 new appointment.
Make a motion to appoint Karen Atha as a new member to the Grant County Solid Waste 109 Board effective February 5th, 2019 through December 31st, 2020. A reappointment of Amy Rowe effective February 5th, 2019 to December 31st, 2020. A reappointment of Dr. Fred Scheffler effective February 5th, 2019 and expire on December 31st, 2022. A reappointment of Kim Martin effective February 5th, 2019 to expire on December 31st, 2021.
There's a reading, I think she missed on Dr. Rowe, I think she said 2020, it's 2022.
2022.
Yeah, 2022.
Okay.
I will second.
I have a second. All in favor by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Okay, number 9, 10, 11, 12. If you can read those appointments.
I, Chuck Dills, Grant County Judge Executive, do hereby reappoint Bill Dennison to serve as a member of the Grant County Joint Local Industrial Development Authority, retroactive to January 31st, 2019, and to expire on December 31st, 2022. I, Chuck Dills, Grant County Judge Executive, do hereby reappoint Logan Murphy to serve as a member of the Grant County Joint Local Industrial Development Authority, retroactive to January 31st, 2019, and to expire on December 31st, 2022. I, Chuck Dills, Grant County Judge Executive, do hereby reappoint Lane Sponsel to serve as a member of the Grant County Joint Local Industrial Development Authority, retroactive to December 31st, 2019, and to expire on December 31st, 2022. I, Chuck Dills, Grant County Judge Executive, do hereby reappoint Leslie Northcutt Neese to serve as a member of the Grant County Joint Local Industrial Development Authority, retroactive to January 31st, 2019, and to expire on December 31st, 2022. I'm sorry, did I say the 31st? December 31st. I, Chuck Dills, Grant County Judge Executive, do hereby appoint James Jim Simpson to serve as a member of the Grant County Joint Local Industrial Development Authority, effective February the 5th, 2019, and to expire on December 31st, 2022.
As you notice, these appointments are not a staggering appointment. These are recommendations by the Local Industrial Development Authority on the reappointments and appointments. All of them agreed to serve. If I can have a motion, these appointments.
I'll make a motion to reappoint Bill Dennison to serve as member of the Grant County Joint Local Industrial Development Authority, retroactive to January 31st, 2019, and to expire on December 31st, 2022, and to reappoint Logan Murphy to serve on the Grant County Joint Local Industrial Development Authority, retroactive to January 31st, 2019, and to expire on December 31st, 2022, and a motion to reappoint Wayne Sponsel to serve as a member of the Grant County Joint Local Industrial Development Authority, retroactive to January 31st, and to expire on December 31st, 2022, and to reappoint Leslie Northcutt Neese to serve as a member of the Grant County Joint Local Industrial Development Authority, retroactive January 31st, 2019, and to expire on December 31st, 2022, and to appoint James Jim Simpson to serve as a member of the Grant County Joint Local Industrial Development Authority, effective February 5th, 2019, and to expire December 31st, 2022.
I will second.
I have a second. Any discussion? If not, all in favor by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Moving down to number 14, we have two reappointments to the Grant County Tax Appeals Board. You want to read those two? Diane?
I, Chuck Dills, Grant County Judge Executive, do hereby reappoint Patricia K. Gibbon to serve as a member of the Grant County Tax Appeals Board, retroactive to January 1st, 2019, and to expire on December 31st, 2022. I, Chuck Dills, Grant County Judge Executive, do hereby appoint Keisha Delaney to serve as a member of the Grant County Tax Appeals Board of Grant County, effective February the 6th, 2019, and to expire on December 31st, 2022.
Make a motion to reappoint Patricia Gibbon to the Grant County Tax Appeal Board, retroactive January 1st, 2019, to expire December 31st, 2022. In addition to that, to appoint Keisha Delaney to the same said board to begin term February 6th, 2019, and to expire December 31st, 2022.
I'll second the motion.
I have a second. Any discussion? If not, all in favor by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Number 16, you can read that reappointment to the Grant County Board of Adjustments.
You want me to read this?
You don't want to gut me?
I, Chuck Dills, Grant County Judge Executive, do hereby reappoint Wade Goodman to serve as a member of the Grant County Board of Adjustments, said term to be retroactive to January 18, 2019, and to expire on January 31st, 2023.
Need a motion for the reappointment of Wade Gutman to the Grant County Board of Adjustments.
I make a motion to reappoint Wade Gutman to serve as a member of the Grant County Board of Adjustments, said term retroactive January 18th, 2019, and expire January 31st of 2023. Also, reappointment of Joyce Slayback to same board February 6th through 2019, and expire on January 31st. Oh, she didn't read that?
No, she just read the one.
Okay. You didn't read
But
mine.
you can do the separate ones in a minute, because they're all all the same
Yeah,
time.
they're all the same.
Then that's
Yeah,
okay.
There's actually
Okay.
five on the next page.
Okay.
We'll be able to do that in a minute, though. I'm walking.
You all made me doubt my sanity there for a
No,
minute.
you're not, no, you got it.
We're getting ahead of
Okay, so
ourselves.
she
Why don't we
made
go
the
ahead and-
motion, and I'll second on the single appointment, reappointment.
You'll second on
Yes.
this, okay. All right, then we'll do the rest of them.
Okay, I have a second. All in favor by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries.
Okay.
Now let's move to number 17. It's,
Yes, all four.
yes,
It's Joyce Slade.
17 to 20,
Yeah.
which is also to the Grant County Board of Adjustments.
I, Chuck Deals, Grant County Judge Executive, do hereby reappoint Joyce Slayback to serve as a member of the Grant County Board of Adjustments. Said term to begin on February the 6th, 2019, and to expire on January 31st, 2023. I, Chuck Deals, Grant County Judge Executive, do hereby reappoint Gerald Butch Bowling to serve as a member of the Grant County Board of Adjustments. Said term to begin on February 6th, 2019, and to expire on January 31st, 2023. I, Chuck Deals, Grant County Judge Executive, do hereby reappoint Greg Powell to serve as a member of the Grant County Board of Adjustments. Said term to begin on February 6, 2019, and to expire on January 31st, 2023. I, Chuck Deals, Grant County Judge Executive, do hereby reappoint Sam McComas to serve as a member of the Grant County Board of Adjustments. Said term to begin on February 6, 2019, and to expire on January 31st, 2023.
I need a motion for these four appointments to the Grant County Board of Adjustments.
Make a motion to reappoint Joyce Slayback, Gerald Butch Bowling, Greg Powell, and Sam McComas, all reappointments to the Grant County Board of Adjustments to begin term February 6, 2019, and to expire January 31st, 2023.
I have a motion. I need a second.
I'll second.
I have a second. All in favor by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Number 21, it appears that's a single reappointment. If you could read that to the Grant County Planning and Zoning Commission.
I, Chuck Deals, Grant County Judge Executive, do hereby reappoint Danny Bates to serve as a member of the Grant County Planning and Zoning Commission. Said term to begin on February 6, 2019, and to expire on December 31st, 2022.
I need a motion for reappointment to Danny Bates.
I'll make a motion, we reappoint Danny Bates to serve as a member of the Grant County Planning and Zoning Commission, with his term beginning February 6, 2019, and to expire on December 31st, 2022.
I second.
I have a second. There's no discussion. All in favor by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. We're down to our last two, 22 and 23 on the appointments. And these are reappointments to the Grant County Sanitation Sewer District.
I, Chuck Deals, Grant County Judge Executive, do hereby reappoint Robert H. Worthington to serve as a member, Robert H. Worthington Jr., to serve as a member of the Grant County Sanitary Sewer District. Said term to begin on February 6, 2019, and to expire on February the 5th, 2023. I, Chuck Deals, Grant County Judge Executive, do hereby reappoint Roger Bingham to serve as a member of the Grant County Sanitary Sewer District. Said term to begin on February 6, 2019, and to expire on February the 5th, 2023.
On the reappointments to Grant County Sanitary Sewer District, I need a motion.
I make a motion to reappoint Robert H. Worthington Jr. and reappoint Roger Bingham to the Grant County Sanitary Sewer District. Said term to begin on February the 6th, 2019, and expire on February the 5th, 2023.
I will second.
I have a second. All in favor by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Moving down to new business. If you want to, clerk, if I can have you read that, a motion to authorize Mike Webster, Grant County Jailer, enter into a contract. And I'll explain.
At This is a motion to authorize Mike Webster, Grant County Jailer, to enter into a revised contract with Combined Public Communications on behalf of the Grant County Fiscal Court to exclusively permit Combined Public Communications to install inmate telecommunications systems that will process prepaid calls, including local and long-distance traffic, and associated hardware and software within all relating and existing and future jail and/or detention facilities, and authorize the jailer and the Grant County Judge Executive Chuck Dills to sign the contract.
And this contract is an existing contract that's been revised. If Stephen Bates would like to speak on it, he's reviewed the contract. It doesn't change anything on the monetary value of the contract. It's just basically updating technology. Is that correct, Mike?
Yes, and it's moving us into a paperless area on a few things such as medical and grievances and so forth, so that we won't be generating them. They'll be electronically submitted versus having to pass out a piece of paper, collect the paper.
And as I looked at it, it actually streamlines the technology so that staff is not having to run down and get grievances, things to be handled through the system.
Yes.
So then there'll be an electronic documented trail versus
That's
a
correct.
paper trail.
Also, every inmate will, before they can use the system, they have to document that they understand the rules and regulations of the facility, so we're also capturing that electronically.
So anything you want to add to this,
The
Stephen?
only thing I would add, I reviewed it just simply from the standpoint of the liability to the county, and if there was adding any cost, there was no liability change from the previous contract or any cost change from the previous contract.
You all any discussion before I ask for a motion? And Pat made a copy, actually wrote on it, new contract, old contract. And we just changed the language with the updated technology and with no difference in cost.
I make a motion to authorize Jailer Mike Webster to enter into a revised contract with Combined Public Communication on behalf of the Grant County Fiscal Court to exclusively permit CPC to install inmate telecommunications that will process prepaid calls, including local and long-distance traffic and associated hardware and software within all the related existing and future jail and/or detention facilities, and authorize the jailer and the Grant County Judge Executive Chuck Dills to sign the contract.
I will second.
Have a second, any further discussion? If not, all in favor by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Next on the agenda is departmental reports. Present for review the Grant County Animal Shelter Report, the Grant County Building Inspector's Report, and the Grant County Road Supervisor Report for the month of January 2019. You all have those reports in your packet. I see Steve Tatum's present in the audience. If you have any questions, I will tell you that they've been busy with the roads, and I'll follow up when we do our individual reports that they've been very busy and can actually take care of a lot beyond what their normal duties are. There's no action needed. Is there any discussion on reports?
I'd like to say again, for the month of January, with building inspector, we're continuing to grow here in Grant County. 14 permits issued, $2,598.25 was brought into the county off of them 14 permits. 4 certificates of occupancy was issued during January. Had 41 field inspections, 766 miles driven for the month. And again, it's more impressive numbers. Just for the month of January, the total estimated cost of construction on these permits, $724,300 is based off these permits, $724,300. Pretty impressive numbers for the month of January.
Good. Any other discussion on any other reports? If not, we'll move on down to Judge Executive's report. I just want to say it's been a busy month of January. The weather, as I've said every meeting, I want to commend the road department for their hard work of getting our roads clear. Also, we've kept them very busy with the road slippages. The 4 that we just opened bids on, they've been out putting things back down, trying to keep everything stable and under control until GSI can get out there and stabilize the roads. Also, they've been following up. I know the magistrates have been sending copied emails to me. I've also been talking to Steve Tatum and his staff. We've recognized another road that has a slippage issue on Rainbow Drive where they jumped on it. They've got GSI coming out to look at it. Then we'll get a hold of Les Whalen and get FEMA involved in that also. We're identifying all the situations for the winter with potholes, roadways that we need to take a look at and get on the priority list come spring. So we've been receiving calls, but besides the calls, I commend the magistrates. They've all been out traveling the roads. And I know that because I talked to them one at a time throughout the week about these issues. They direct a lot of their calls to Steve Tatum and his staff, and staying very busy, and hopefully that we'll get over this rough path before long. I also want to add, I'm going to be in training this week, judges training. I'll be learning some new things that's going on in the state. We've been attending, as I said, Shauna Kodar and myself attended meetings at District 6. We've attended, last night we were at the Williamstown Council meeting, so we've been attending Dry Ridge, Williamstown Council meetings, discussing the issues that's in the city. We're talking about a park they're wanting to use where the building was tore down behind the building, that we can make a park. It's sort of a unique park. It's remote control car park where it's a track. It's inexpensive to build. We make it part of the city and the county's park system. We would do it jointly, and it's where it's for kids, adults, anybody who wants to bring in remote control cars. Also a topic of it was, next door is where Hans Flippo, they're building a new Williamstown hotel or remodeling this building. They have started on the building. It's going to house 2 restaurants. One of the restaurants is the Country Kitchen. On the back side of the ground level will be a barbecue restaurant, which will be adjacent to this park. We have a business across the street that's a hobby store that would be very open to renting the remote control cars out if someone didn't have their own for people traveling. So we're trying to stimulate the downtown businesses and utilize land right beside a railroad track that we couldn't utilize for something else. So we're looking at putting a park in and doing things like that jointly with the city of Williamstown and also tourism. So I'm sure there's several other things I haven't mentioned, but we'll move on to
Been busy.
District 1, Jacqueline.
Just as Chuck reiterated, in communication with the road department and with the railroad company, probably my biggest obligation here over the last few months has really just been checking the roads, as those particular county roads are directly affected with the bridges being closed. Got word this morning from Norfolk Southern Government Relations Director that the South Delaney Bridge is likely to be finished by mid-February. And so then I asked them, so will you be contacting the state for them to inspect the bridge so that it could get open? And so very optimistic and pleased with that contractor that the railroad has outsourced that to. So they're making significant progress on that, and they believe the next just few weeks, if the weather continues at the rate that it is for the South Delaney. You know, as Chuck indicated, Blanchett and Delaney, those roads that are heavily traveled as a result of those bridges, both, you know, GSI will be starting this as soon as possible on those particular, I call it landslides, it's road slides. In addition to that, just traveling those roads, one follow-up question that I wanted to ask Chuck as it pertains to the road department's reports. Where are we at on prioritization of the ditching and drainage work for the major report that needs to be sent to the state on the funding?
Steve, you want to speak on that?
I'm almost done. I'm waiting on 2 bids for the bridges on,
Violet?
No, the one on Crittenden.
yeah,
Shady Lane.
Shady Lane.
Oh, Shady Lane,
Okay,
okay.
okay.
Shady Lane, yeah, that's the one. I'm waiting on bids on it, and as soon as I get them in,
Will be.
I can turn it in to you.
Okay, and I'm assuming turn it in means we'll get it to Frankfurt, because we're on the hook to get them a response back for that available money that they've kept
Yeah.
for us from other bridges, projects that we are entitled to. So that is something that's just been heavy on my mind, because as you are aware, on the south end, there's quite a few roads that, as others, can be ditched and drained, and so I don't want us to miss the ball on that. And then just a few other committees, early childhood development, in partnership with a committee that exists from both Grant County Board of Education and Williamstown Independent School Systems. Had an opportunity to touch base back with that committee. In fact, you were at that meeting, Chuck, and it was very pleasing to see that in the 3 years since that committee's been established, they have made some significant progress, but poverty is a huge issue that these children are facing, and growing up in a home that's adequately stimulating their minds from 0 to age 3, and how that is impacting workforce development and just many things. The newspaper was there, Mr. Marshall, so I'm sure there'll be some type of report come out with various community members that are engaged with early childhood development. And then just continuous work with the Grant County Work Ready Committee. We meet tomorrow, and we meet every other month, so just preparing for that meeting as well.
Okay, as Chuck said, him and I attended several meetings this month. I was intrigued again by the District 6 at the Kentucky Transportation Cabinet and the amount of work that is at least in a study mode with the district. In March, there is going to be a meeting of the stakeholders. I don't know if you all were aware, I think it was even in the Grant County News several months ago, about the possibility of 6 different alternative routes for northern Kentucky, and 2 of those routes happen to be in Grant County. Now, they're wanting to take the approach of taking the 6 and possibly narrowing it down to 2. And when you say that doesn't, or 3, excuse me, that doesn't mean that these are going to be done. They still are in the study mode. But I think within the next several months, you'll see if, those possibilities of those going through Grant County will be included or excluded, either one. The viable thoroughfare that it will produce will help Pendleton County and Owen as well, if they would subject to going through Grant County. And if they don't, even a narrower strap in the northern end of the county, you're going to hit into your Gallatin and Carroll County. It will at least be, an alternate route than the I-275, and try to relieve some of this congestion on 75 going into Cincinnati. Also, as Chuck mentioned, I'm excited about the possibility of the model road track going in and being able to maybe use some property that we already have as a fiscal court to help in that venture. Attended the NKADD board. It's a board out of northern Kentucky, and it's really surprising of the programs that they have for senior citizens, and that I don't know if we tap into all those or not. Mr. Rose is our member there at large from the county, but they do have a lot of offerings for our citizens. Let's see if there's anything else. And as with Chuck, we'll be attending the meetings this week to learn more about the county. Today, we also attended a meeting on insurance. And, and also on budget, forming the budget. So, you know, it's always ready to, willing, and be trained and be learned, so.
And the insurance that Sean was talking about is health insurance.
Yeah.
They met up in Northern Kentucky with the health insurance, and then the representatives from CAECO and another representative met with myself and Tabitha Clemens in my office today, going over, we're getting all the figures to them to start quoting for possibly better coverage at a cheaper rate. So we're looking at these options.
And as always, a lot of pothole reports and been flooding Steve with emails, so. And also, the next meeting, we're looking forward to the rural and municipal road aid. That is subject to be released on what funds we're gonna get for the county, but that will be in our second meeting in February. So. Your turn.
Roger, next.
Down in District 3, several things going on. Rainbow Drive goes up, is the road that goes to the dam on Bullock Pin Lake. And for those of you not familiar, they're getting ready to redo that dam. That dam has been failing and deteriorating since the day it was installed. And it's to the point now it's getting very, very bad. Bullock Pin Lake is a lake that Bullock Pin Water District draws all their water source from, serves many thousands of residents in Gray County. I forget how many millions of gallons they pull out of that lake a month. But we have that road slippage there. Steve Tatum brought it to my attention and we checked out, and it's bad, it's real bad. One of our concerns right now is they're bringing in some very heavy duty equipment to start working on this dam, and this dam project is going to be a 3 or 4 year project. It's not going to be an overnight project. This is a 3 or 4 year project at least. And the equipment they're bringing in here to do this is probably going to destroy that road. But they have, Steve and I was talking before the meeting, they've kind of agreed that, yeah, they're going to make the road good or better than what it ever was. When they get done, we're going to fix that slippage before they can even get in there. So it's kind of critical there. The same slippage area was fixed, I believe Steve said, what was 25 years ago?
Yeah, at least 25 years ago, we fixed it.
And
To what the state recommended is what we done.
what they recommended back then, 25 years ago, but it lasted 25 years, so
We got that out of it.
gonna do it again. Just some other road projects, potholes, been reporting to Steve. I commend him and Chuck and everybody, you know, the instant I send an email out of any kind of road concern or road question, within 24 hours I get a response back. So I appreciate that. City of Crittenden went to the caucus meeting last week. They've got several things going on there, and tonight is their regular council meeting. One is a hotel coming in, and a restaurant, and what the developer considered a upper end set of apartments. That's being presented to the council tonight. There's also some people there tonight that's going to be presenting some other projects of land that we're wanting to develop. For those that go through Crittenden on the north end of town, the old trailer court there in town, the city of Crittenden bought that property, the old trailer court. And plain and simple, we bought it to clean it up because it was a rat hole, okay? And it still looks pretty bad right now, but there's 5 acres in there that the city bought. They're gonna clean it up and open it for development or for sale. But that was the only way they could get that place cleaned up, was at the purchase.
And Roger, is that behind the school, correct? Or no?
No.
Okay, where's the Phoenix?
This was on north end of town, right there on US 25 by Violet Road, Lebanon Road.
Okay.
The
Okay.
backside of it's behind Fort Bank.
Right.
Okay, I was thinking of another location. Okay,
Yeah,
got it.
yeah.
Okay.
That trailer court, Indian Hill, is owned by a private corporation now.
The one I was in question about?
Yeah.
Yes.
And I know when I was out before the election, when I was out campaigning, I walked through there, walked every resident in the trailer court. Those people aren't happy with this person that owns that property. They can't get anything done down there now. And it's just deteriorating more and more every day. You know, again, I've heard so many times, been told to me that, well, our ordinance says you can have 2 junk cars on your property. And, folks, we gotta redo that ordinance. You want 2 junk cars on your property, it's been sitting there for years and years, you got trees growing up through the hood of it. That's absolutely ridiculous. They ain't paying taxes on it, they're not registered, they're not roadworthy. It's time to clean this place up. And that's gonna be one of my goals, and I've talked to Chuck about that, and I think we're all on the same page. We wanna try to get it cleaned up here. We're doing our best for you.
Anything else? I forgot to mention, if you all noticed, the judicial court bench is missing behind us. I've disassembled that. This is no longer a judicial courtroom, it's a fiscal courtroom. Also, if you noticed on this post is a permanent camera, and it's filming right now. It's good view. These bites has all been wired into the camera system. We're in the process, if you all see these speakers.
Are you waving?
No, the speakers in the
No, he's
ceiling.
waving up at the camera.
No, the speakers in the ceiling.
I know, but if he's waving at me.
They'll all be wired into the system, so we'll be doing away with these speakers, the intercom system, so it'll be a lot better sound. And like I said, we currently got it wired into the camera. So as soon as the meeting's over, we'll be uploading that to our Facebook page and also to our website.
So we won't need the speaker system anymore, is that what you're saying?
That's correct.
Okay, that's
Yeah,
good.
this was used when the judicial court system was here. It's an excellent sound system. The wiring, we found it when we were tearing this apart, and we'll be able to utilize the speakers already in the building, which is sort of nice quality speakers. We're in the process of getting some drawings done to build us a bench here where we're all sitting together, pointing at the audience. So, you know, we're constantly trying to update the infrastructure of the building. I think it's,
Clock and
yeah, we got roof issues that we're looking at. I've been on the roof 2 or 3 times in the last week when the weather was decent.
You're not
we've
only
got
a
some
good
brick-
administrator, you're a good handyman.
Yeah, we got brick issues where we're seeing daylight through the front corner of the building on the 3rd floor. As you can see, the roof leaks down both sides. That's to both sides of the 3rd floor. The only reason it's not leaking over us is the 3rd floor is covering us. But yes, on the addition of it, but on both sides is where the leakage is coming from. The clock tower, if you can look at it from the road and tell it's deteriorated. I want to have someone look at it, at least give us some bids. We've got to salvage this property. That clock tower's been here since 1939 on this 3rd courthouse, and we've got to maintain our property. So we're just trying to look at it bits at a time, trying to preserve the history. We are going to preserve the backdrop. This is original. That bench wasn't. The bench was put in probably about 25 years ago. That's from 1939. That will stay in the building. And we'll incorporate the bench with it. That we're all sitting at the same level, stained in the same colors that we work at the building. So that's what we're looking at. That's all I have. I'm sorry for adding that. I forgot to mention the permanent camera's been put in. Sheriff Brian Maines, I believe he's at the Crittenden Council meeting tonight, so he wasn't going to be here. He was going to do his reports monthly. But I have Mike Webster here if you want to give us a report. Reason the podium was moved over here to actually, you'll watch it, you'll see it online, picks everything up better. It was shooting too far a distance.
Good evening. Just want to say thank you for the chance to let everyone know. We had 280 state inmates and 43 county inmates for a total of 323. Not only did we pick up the roadsides, but we with the state crews. We also sent a county crew out this week. We picked up 1 ton of trash and 24 tires off some county roads in 2 days.
Over in the Elliston area?
Yes. And we're not completely finished with that project. The weather's been a little bit to deal with. And we also assisted in snow removal when the weather was a little less.
Just so you know, that was a call that came into Roger, that's his district. He immediately got a hold of Mike.
And Brian Miles also
Yeah,
called us
yes.
first thing Monday. So working together, I think we're going to be able to make some cleaner roadsides. Thank you.
Okay, I believe that, Steve, is there anything else we've sort of hit on you throughout the meeting?
We pretty much covered it.
Okay.
And some,
And Colton Simpson works at the fiscal court, he's present in the room. He has been, this last meeting, attending the work ready force with
Yep.
Jacqueline. So he's representing us also on that committee.
we're excited to have him in his future efforts.
Now we're down to citizens address. Anybody like to step up and come on up, Jack?
Chuck, Roger. Roger, you're talking about, what was the name of that road where the construction's gonna be going on?
Rainbow.
In the past, I've dealt with a lot of heavy construction before with contractors, and we've required a bonding, or the contractor to get a bond for the roads. I've had experiences where they didn't do that, and when they left it in a certain way, condition, we had to come back, or we as the federal government had to come back and make those repairs to those roads. So I don't know if you guys ever consider that or not, but it is a way to hold the contractor's feet to the fire to have to come back. You go out, you take a video, you look at the roads, afterwards you come back and video it again, now you've got something that, to hold them to their feet to the fire for repair.
Yeah, and then I know the state does that quite
Okay, so
often.
I didn't know if that's a county road, I didn't know.
It's a county road, but the project out there is gonna be a state project on the dam
They're still trying to-
renovation, so I'm hoping that they've incorporated that. The
And
one
we'll-
packet I saw was,
That's a good idea, Jay.
They
We'll check and
will,
make
we'll
sure
look into
that.
it.
absolutely, checks and balances.
They will not come back. I can tell you,
Right.
They will
Yeah.
walk.
No.
They're coming from out of state,
They will walk.
and once they get done, they're gonna go back out of state, so,
And
That's
we'll
all.
follow up and make sure that's a good idea.
great idea.
What I got in is important is the roads and the bridges and stuff, the road sliding, but I got a pothole that was there in 2017 during the school year. And we reported it again 6 months ago, and we reported it 6 weeks ago. And nobody's ever been out to look at it or fix it.
We're about to-
Well, actually, it's been 2 years.
Well, it's
Or it's been longer.
2017.
I've talked to Steve Woods, I've talked to Darrell Link, Wanda Crupper.
What road?
What road is it?
It's on Mohawk Drive.
Okay, we spoke to,
That's the one.
And I called Steve.
yes,
Yes,
yeah, we just spoke to it. They're coming out to put the gravel on Mohawk in the cul-de-sac.
Yes, sir.
Yeah,
The
we
school
just got a
bus,
call.
it almost flips when it hits that spot. He's gotta take the whole thing to turn.
Where is Louisville?
It's
Down
it's
Dry
on-
Bridge, Mount
it's
Zion?
on Mount Zion.
Okay.
I'd appreciate it.
Yeah, we just got the call since I've been here.
Yeah.
Yesterday or the day before, got a hold of Steve, and they're gonna, I mean, it's raining now, but what they're gonna do, if I understand, and I don't wanna, I'll have him explain more. For right now, they're gonna cut it out, Sean is the one that actually took the call. Gonna cut it out, put gravel in it until the, asphalt plants open back up. As soon as the asphalt plants open back up, it will be fixed.
I appreciate it.
Is that the part of,
Thank you.
like, homeowners association too?
they don't
No.
have that.
Okay, I was just wondering, was this inquired? Okay.
No, but.
Hi. I had a question about the CPC contract. Are they paying us or are we paying them? I do know that they sell the telecommunication services to the inmates pay
We're getting
for
commission.
utilization. So we are going to get a commission?
Yes.
Yeah, nothing's changing on the commission, correct?
Correct.
Yeah, I mean, everything I read,
The same.
yeah, the commission's not changing, they're just updating technology, and I'll be honest, they're probably implementing a few things that can draw more revenue, that our commission would go actually up.
That's great.
And the technology is just newer technology, and some of it, as he said, will cover some of our mental health, medical job, or drug addiction, and a few things that's offered on this program.
So do we net positive on this business venture with them?
Yes, because we're not
It
out
costs
any.
us nothing.
Yeah, they put it, it's the phones they put in the jail cells where they make the calls, we get commissions off of it.
And we do pretty well on that,
Yes.
actually.
Calls from
It's a
jail.
revenue, it is a revenue stream, believe it or
And not too many contracts you see that when they want to change it, that it actually will benefit you.
Well, that's what I was wondering, when you said that there was a technology upgrade, I was
Yeah.
just,
Yeah,
At their
a company
cost.
usually
at
would
their
do that
cost,
for
but I will
free.
tell you,
It's gonna generate
they're going to
more
generate
revenue.
more money,
Yeah.
and the jail will too off of the.
Great, okay.
Mike, what do they charge per minute for an inmate to call out now? Do you know what that rate is?
I don't know the exact,
It wasn't.
and it depends on
It said like 50%.
if it's local, long distance, or where they're calling it. It's
It's,
different rates.
it's really up there. It's like $5 a minute
Yeah.
for an inmate to make, and it has to be a collect call, and you have to say, yeah, I'll take that call, so. Yeah, it gets pretty expensive, that's the reason.
And we're
They're
entitled
in that
to
business to make that money.
50% of the revenue. They keep half, we get half of the profit that they.
So we encourage them to call a lot.
I had one other question. I wanted to know if you all are working on a vision for EMS for the county.
Yes, I spoke briefly with Greg Brockman, Mayor of Dry Ridge. I spoke to Greg Rose, the director of AMR, and I'm sort of waiting on them to approach me with some plans. I think Greg Brockman is new at Dry Ridge. He's uncertain, the discussion, am I right? I know that Jacqueline's going to have a conversation with him too. A plan. They've assured me that nothing's going to change as far as response at this time. So I just told them we need to sit down at the table and get something worked out, and it's sort of, I'm waiting on them to do it.
Well, and Diane, you've been along as a citizen on this journey the entire time that this has, been a topic for us. And I don't think that it's any easy undertaking coming up to speed with all the state nuances. And then the beauty that we have in this county is we still have a for-profit agency operating because of the hospital. And not many rural communities have a hospital that has that. So that's another, it's not a complicator, but it's another factor that I think Mr. Brockman, just has to come up to speed, and being in office for 1 month and having his outfit that also provides the service. Not many people have the dynamics that we have with this current situation, and I want to make sure that we use that to the advantage of the taxpayer. And I believe that he's working to come up to speed, because I know I couldn't come up to speed in a month on the topic as much as we've researched it and had various meetings on it. And but to Chuck's point, it's totally top of mind, I think, for all of us. I think we're waiting for the new governing body of the city of Dry Ridge to come fully up to speed on the direction that they want to take
So at
too.
least we can have some.
I'm glad that you mentioned that, the benefit that we have here in Grant County as a result of being on the I-95 or 75
Exactly.
corridor, as well as the association of the transfer contract that AMR has with the hospitals, because that does provide as a byproduct of their 4-fee contract, it does provide the opportunity for us to get service, and I'm glad to hear that we want to, or there is some thought to leverage that already paid for availability for EMS service for the county residents.
And one thing that affects you living in the southern end of the county, the Corinth Fire Department, compliments to them. They have already been forethinking, the worst case scenario, should Dry Ridge pull out. And if you recall, the stipend that we had provided Dry Ridge on the purchase of the ambulance that still sits at that bay. That particular board, the Corinth Fire Department Board, is proactive in looking at licenses and what certifications does their current staff have. And this is all them trying to get together a plan, a contingency plan, should there be lack of service, let's just say that. And so as I attend that meeting on a monthly basis, they are, putting pen to paper, looking at the financial cost, and have already put in, certificate of need from a licensure standpoint. And don't hold me to all this because I don't have my notes in front of me, but the type that they would be allowed to qualify for, which is not the same exact one that we have today because they're underneath the city of Dry Ridge operating that ambulance. But that is also yet another factor in this situation where we have several fire departments that very well could, also potentially provide the service. And so that's even just another route to look at, and that comes with the financial cost, too. So more to come.
Well, yeah.
I fully anticipate it.
Yeah, it's the situation on the front burner. We're just sort of in standby mode right at the moment, waiting for Dry Ridge to set up some discussions.
Does, Roger, do you know what Crittenden is doing now? Because I know there was some emergency because there was some, when the running for election, they mentioned something to, going with their own or something. Do you know what they're doing?
They have talked about that again. I think you've got a whole new mayor and council, you got everybody new down there except for two, and they're in the same situation. They're wanting to sit at the table and figure out what they've got, what they need, and hopefully work with everybody so everybody's needs are.
Right, but for sure, the towns, the established towns or city, I guess, of Dry Ridge and Williamstown offer fire and EMS service to the residents of their towns, their districts, as part of the services that you get when you live in a town or a city. The folks that live outside, who choose to live outside in more rural areas, aren't really moving there and expecting, sidewalks and lights and some of those other services that you get when you're in an established town. So the operations of the fire department and the EMS is relatively at some cost as a result of it being offered within the context of the established city or the established town or district, or however we create those boundaries here. So the cost of providing the service outside of those established areas is incremental cost. It shouldn't be included as part of a factor of the sunk cost of operating what is provided as a result of just being in a city or a town. Did I make that kind of, seems kind of a little convoluted?
I think what you're saying is there's an added benefit of HERC as to you pay city taxes, you live in the city limits for the accessibility to additional resources and support. And those of us that live in a more rural part, we don't expect to have those types of amenities because we aren't in a city limits paying additional, city taxes for that benefit. Is that what you're saying?
Yes, exactly.
Okay.
So the cost of getting those services would not necessarily have to include covering the sunk cost of having those services, those departments already, because it's already a sunk cost borne by the cities. Sunk cost versus incremental cost is kind of like one I'm getting at.
Okay.
Yes,
So.
thanks. Anyone else? No one else has anything to speak on? We'll adjourn the meeting. Our next meeting will be February the 19th at 6:30 p.m. here at the Grant County Courthouse. And if I can have a motion to adjourn?
I make a motion to adjourn.
I second.
I have a second. All in favor by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. We're now adjourned. Thank you all.